The Farewell, written and directed by Lulu Wang, takes place primarily in China, where a family is visiting the matriarch of the family, Nai. The family is going to visit Nai because she's been recently diagnosed with terminal lung cancer, but the family agrees that it's best not to tell her that. Nai doesn't know she's sick. She thinks that her family is visiting her because of a family wedding, which she's taken the liberty of planning. As each family member tries to enjoy the remaining time with Nai, they also hope to spare her from the truth. Alright, so I've been really looking forward to seeing The Farewell for a while now. I've seen the film be praised pretty much everywhere, and I've been constantly checking my local theater to see if they're actually playing it at some point. Since I live in a smaller area, sometimes A24 films don't come to my area right away. That's actually usually what happens, and that happened with The Farewell as well. I mean, it took quite a while to actually get here. Regardless, I went in with high expectations, and I have to say that I believe those expectations were met for the most part. I think that The Farewell is definitely a must-see, primarily because it touches on a lot of important topics such as tradition, family, personal identity, and a lot of other things along those lines. But you could also argue that it's just a must-see because it's just a well-made film with a compelling story. Either way you slice it, The Farewell is an experience that's worth your time and money because it's emotionally impactful. The film is primarily seen through the perspective of Awkwafina's character Billy. Billy is in an interesting position because she's lived most of her life in America, so her beliefs and customs more so align with American culture more so than they do with Chinese culture. She can't quite wrap her head around why the family believes they need to lie to Nai about, her terminal lung cancer condition. In America, most families would never think of doing something like this, and there's even a point in the film where the characters discuss how, in America they wouldn't do something like this and how it would actually be considered illegal in America. At least in the film, the characters believe that Chinese culture is to, spare their loved one from the truth so they don't fear their inevitable death at the hands of, their terminal condition. It's very almost heartbreaking to watch the characters hold true to this cultural tradition while they have to internalize and live with the fact that they're not only lying to their beloved family member, but that their time with her is very short. As the movie progresses, you see the characters struggling more and more with the lying and coming to terms with the fact that they're almost about to lose a loved one that they hold very dear to their heart. And there's that unsettling feeling you get because you and the characters all know an important piece of information that one of the other important characters doesn't. And it results in each scene feeling a bit tense and with significant weight to it. The Farewell also discusses culture and tradition insightfully. Billy is Americanized in many ways, and she is often challenging the idea that Nai needs to be spared from the truth. And I liked how the film focuses on how culture can dictate what our ethics are and our overall decision making. What is deemed normal varies from culture to culture, and some traditions may even appear cruel to those on the outside looking in. One of the best parts of the film is the way the characters have to, grapple with upholding tradition and what they feel is inherently right. There's a constant struggle for them, and it really is kind of tough to watch, but in an entertaining kind of way. Through and through, The Farewell is awesomely performed. I mean, every character has their moments, but as I mentioned, Billy is the perspective through which the viewer understands the story. I think Awkwafina deserves to be in the Oscar conversation, and I think that ultimately she will be come February. She does a really great job of showing the toll that this whole dilemma is taking on her without actually breaking the wishes and respects of the family by outright telling Nai the truth. So there's a sweet spot that Awkwafina finds because her character is able to show various levels of vulnerability based on who is around her. This is another interesting theme discussed in the film. Many of the characters attempt to uphold a cultural standard that focuses on strength and sometimes not asking for help or admitting fears and weaknesses. This manifests itself in some of the characters' behaviors, and they ultimately suffer anxiety from their issues that they just, suck up and deal with rather than asking for help. But from a technical perspective, there's two things I love about The Farewell in addition to what I've already mentioned. I love how the film is shot, and I love the music. The cinematography gives the film a unique visual style because there's something just off about it, but in an appealing kind of way. Many of the shots are static, a lot of them have characters in the frame with a lot of headroom, and the visuals help make the film feel off balance, which is how the main character Billy feels for most of the film. The music also helps establish an atmosphere that makes you feel like you're experiencing something uniquely cultural and different than what most of us Americans are used to. The music helps create an atmosphere that transports you somewhere else. And it also helps make those emotional beats hit that much harder. There's really only one area where I feel like The Farewell let me down. I mean, you could argue that it is a slow film, but I think the payoff you get in the final act remedies that issue a bit. My problem is that I didn't love the second ending. I feel like there are two endings to this film, and the final one feels like it almost goes against what the first one did. And also the weight of the story. I mean, the filmmakers didn't have much of a choice, and you'll see what I'm talking about once you see it, but it kind of diminished the impact for me just a little bit. But overall, I really enjoyed The Farewell. I think it's one of the best movies of the year and definitely worth a watch. As for the pros cons, for the pros, I think the characters and performances are awesome. The film insightfully discusses a lot of important ideas and themes. The cinematography and music are awesome. And the emotion/feels are definitely there. As for the cons, I'd say just a second ending. It exists for a reason, but I feel it does contradict the first ending just a bit. I'm going to give The Farewell a 9.5 out of 10 and definitely recommend you check it out in theaters. If you're looking for a well-made drama film, this is the one for you. So did you guys see The Farewell yet? What did you think of it? And if not, let me know why not. Also, let me know your favorite movie of 2019 thus far. For me, John Wick 3 is still holding the top spot, but there's still obviously some time for it to be dethroned if possible. Either way, this is WillFoxification signing off. See you in the next video.